Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 3 of the anime series Shokugeki no Soma, no Sara, or the Second Plate. And finally, we have our answer. Who is the winner between Ryo and Megumi? And I gotta admit, I'm not really that surprised that Ryo won the day. It was kind of a shock, but Megumi seemed to fare it fairly well, and that really speaks to her evolution as a character, something I was speaking with a couple of you in the comments on my last episode discussion video. And that's, I got to give props to Megumi for holding it together, being a little more freaked out by Ryo in the end, just saying, man, he was scary after her, unfortunately, losing to him. But I like that she didn't have like a nervous breakdown. She was, going out seeking Soma and everything. He was running late. And we have the introduction of this character, Subaru, which is like, I heard a fellow reviewer referring to a character from the manga that anyone who hadn't read the manga would not be familiar with, and it was like a special character that was going to be cropping up sometime soon. He was maybe supposed to have been hinted at, in season 1 already, but they basically kept him out of the loop until he was going to be relevant. And I'm wondering if Subaru is that character. He is obsessive, like collecting information on Soma, even down to his shoe size, his height, probably turn-ons, turns-offs, and everything like that. Same thing with Takumi Aldini and anyone he's going to be, looking at as a potential competitor. And of course we know that Aldini is going up against Subaru in the next round. This episode primarily taking place with a matchup between Akira and Hosaka, and I didn't know how this was going to play out. I mean, I kind of had my money on Akira just because here is another sort of stalwart of, the background characters, the rivals, if you will, the adversaries for Soma and his, sort of, I guess you could say mates, his little posse, that stood out the most to me as, being one to go up against them potentially. He would probably be somebody we will see in a future episode, a future match, going up against Soma. So I really had my money on Akira in that framework, in that frame of reference, that he's gonna be going up against Soma at some point in the future, so likely he will win. And that's exactly what played out. I gotta say, this was the first sort of food match, food battle, if you will, where I almost found it grotesque. I mean, with, of course, Hisako basically slaughtering a turtle right there on the table. I'm glad they didn't animate it in too high a detail, but it was still enough to kind of eat away at me, no pun intended. Like, really, it was disconcerting to me and everything, and I would have been one of the kids who would have turned down cutting up a frog in science class, rather do it on a computer program or something like that. Because it just, I can't stand the thought of animals being harmed and everything like that. No, I'm not a vegan, a vegetarian, or anything along those lines. I eat a lot of meat, and chicken and beef being my two favorites, and sometimes pork and everything like that. But it really just got to me a little bit there when she's like, cutting them up and they're bleeding out and everything, and they're describing letting the thing bleed out and putting whatever the, sauce or whatever it is she's putting in the thing so that it doesn't coagulate or whatever it is. And she's going to utilize the flavor of the blood in the meat and whatever. It just got a little, like not the good kind of goosebumps, if you know what I'm saying. And, but I'm a burger lover, so I got to admit, when it came around to Akira's burger, knowing that this guy is all about flavor and scent and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I was really curious. This is a show where I love hearing all the uber details about the recipes and the production of these food dishes, but his stand out to me as like, okay, I can almost get a sense of what that must taste like or what it must smell like. And seeing everyone, losing their shit over it, it was just like, all right, he wins the day and everything. And I love how, of course, the devil himself, the elder Nakiri, if you will, grandpa to, of course, Arina and Alice, he's instantly knocked for a loop as far as his shirt coming off and everything. And I like that little nod, incidentally, toward the beginning of the episode where we find Oh, he actually had disrobed to a point. He'd had something taken off him, and it was his little sort of jock or underwear garments, you know, from Megumi's prowess, and he was actually impressed by that. Shocked, but impressed by it. And I was pretty similarly shocked and somewhat impressed. Grateful that we didn't actually see anything more than just that fabric floating, you know, as if with a mind of its own. But, this episode, it was exciting, it was fun. The whole exchange between Soma and Subaru, I'm telling you, like, talking about, he embroidered his own jacket, and oh my god, isn't it a pretty name? That was pretty freaking hilarious. And the whole thing with, of course, I think it was Hisako, you know, basically creating for the Elder Nakiri, you know, the whole dream sequence, almost Godzilla-like, you know, two kaiju facing off. That was pretty hilarious. And overall, another smash hit episode as far as I'm concerned. Not really much to complain about. And just bring on the next one, man. I can't wait to see who's going to win and lose in the next round. And hell yeah, you know, bring it on. So, otherwise, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 3 of Shokugeki no Souma no Sara, or the second plate, if you've seen it as well. Love it or hate it, anything goes in the comments below. Just love having that conversation. Otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.